What the New York Times does matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. What NBC News and MSNBC reporters do matters. It matters.
Over on MSNBC, they celebrated reporter and journalist and entrepreneur Jim Vandehei, who gave a speech at the National Press Club to try to say, we're relevant, damn it, and what we do matters because we're reporters, damn it, and you all are nothing without us. It was almost like that. Here, take a look.
I hate this damn debate about, like, oh, we don't need the media. Like, it is not true. Think about what makes this. I love this country. I'm a beneficiary of this country. Like some from Wisconsin who can come and start two companies, be up here, win an award, sit next to Mikey. I'm a beneficiary of it. But there's something about the country. There's something about it, right? There's something about freedom, capitalism, the animal spirits of democracy. But at the core of that is maybe transparency, maybe a free press, maybe the ability to do your job without worrying to go to jail. Maybe the ability to sit in a war zone and tell people what's actually happening so they're not just looking at distortion matters. It matters profoundly. It's why it's not like we just love getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning doing this every single day. Like, we do it because we love it. We do it because it matters. The work that we do matters. Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying, like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter any more than me looking at your head and seeing that you have a brain and telling you have an awesome set of tools makes me a damn neurosurgeon, right? Like, what we do, what journalists do, what you did in Mississippi, what Al Jazeera does in the Middle East. You don't proclaim yourself to be a reporter. Like, that's nonsense. Like, being a reporter is hard, really hard. You have to care. You have to do the hard work. You have to get up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth without any fear, without any favoritism. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Oh, man, they are so terrified. It's almost like we're watching the dinosaurs as they sink into the muck that will soon become petroleum fuel a couple of thousand years from now. And they're screaming and saying, help me, help me. No, we're still important. We dominate this planet. We're dinosaurs, damn it. I'm a T-Rex. Don't you know who I am? Damn it. What I do is hard. And I do love you wake up every day to try to get to a close approximation of the truth. Is that the standard we're working on now, Jimmy? Hey, come on. Don't get down on me. Sure, my story was wrong, but it was a close approximation of the truth. And did he just say that Al Jazeera is delivering the facts and truth in the Middle East? Al Jazeera, aren't they literally owned by a terrorist state? Al Jazeera is delivering the facts and the truth. I wonder if he has any Arab money funding his ventures, that Jim Vandehei. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Amazing. And his big argument here about how the media looks bad today and how media businesses are losing their shirts and how media corporations are going bankrupt. His big argument is Elon Musk and X and citizens actually having a voice and being able to tweet back at this guy saying, hey, you're wrong, and let me explain to you why. When Elon Musk says you are the media, he's not saying you're reporters. He's not saying you're journalists. He's not saying you're a media company or whatever the hell Jim Vandehei thinks it means to be the media. What he's saying is you have a voice, and your voice is just as important as Jim Vandehei. Jim Vandehei disagrees, though. He thinks that his voice is more important. And the 500 people sitting at the National Press Club for a black tie dinner where they hand each other plexiglass trophies and celebrate each other and tell each other, you're still important. That's who the media is, that's who's most important. He's completely lost the plot. And by the way, if you're really angry about the footing the media has right now in this country, if you're really angry, Jim, about how reporters and your efforts and your hard work and your craft and your art is in some way being diminished and in some way has lost credibility with the American people, maybe you shouldn't be yelling at me. Maybe you shouldn't be yelling at Elon Musk and individuals on Twitter and X. Maybe you should yell at 60 Minutes. Yeah, 60 Minutes, who got caught red-handed, selectively, deceptively editing an interview with a presidential candidate. And to this day, they refuse to put out the actual full transcript of a 40-minute interview that they reduced down to 15, 20-minute interview. We caught them. And by the way, who caught them? Who caught them? A Twitter account, an anonymous dude who goes by, I think it was Mace who did that? I think it was Mace on Twitter, who has a blue check mark. And he found the original video that was put out on Sunday and then saw what they put out on Monday on 60 Minutes. And he figured out that you had lied. Your industry lied. 60 Minutes, the crown jewel of electronic media, Jim Vandehey. The reason why people don't trust you, don't like you, and why you've lost credibility with the American people, your customers, is because your industry has done it to yourself. But after they played that clip this morning on Morning Joe, here's what the reception was.
So clap, everybody.
Oh, yes.
First of all, I've got to say, extraordinary content. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said. When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down about not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do. And I love how you connected reporters in Mississippi in the 1960s to reporters fighting for their life to get the story out in the Middle East today. Jim, it was very powerful.
Really good.
Very powerful. Even if even if we had to beep you more than we would if we ran a Dave Chappelle concert.
I like
still
it.
Good.
Jim's mild mannered.
He
preached it, though. The cadence, I might get him ordained.
Well, let me just say, why this is so important right now, more than ever, is because critics of the press are feeling more empowered than ever to lie more than ever. I've had friends for years going, I'm so overwhelmed, Joe, by the news. I don't read the news. I go, where do you get your news then? Epic Times. I go,
oh God.
You get your news from a website run by Chinese by conspiracy theorists in a Chinese religious cult. That is where you get the no. Or if social media, people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters. What the New York Times does matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. What NBC News and MSNBC reporters do matters. It matters.
God, they are so terrified right now because they're seeing their entire house of cards come tumbling down. You know how you know when an industry really matters to the world? When somebody sits on television screaming at you saying, what we do matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. Guess what? If you really matter, maybe your work will speak for itself. Maybe you don't have to keep yelling at us, convincing us how much you matter. Maybe, just a hunch here, Joe, I don't want to put words, because listen, you make a lot more money than me. You do your morning show there, and God knows your hair is magnificent. But I got a suggestion for you. If you want us all to believe that what you do matters, why don't you try this? Why don't you do something that matters? Because all you've done for the last year is say that Donald Trump is a crook, Donald Trump is a criminal, Donald Trump is a molester, Donald Trump is a communist, Donald Trump is a Russian asset, Donald Trump is going to jail, Donald Trump is a fascist, Donald Trump is Hitler. And by extension, of course, anybody who supports him, likes him, or votes for him is a Nazi. And guess what? You lost. No one listened to you. And now all you can do is scream back at the camera, what we do matters, damn it, it matters. It matters to who? Doesn't matter to your audience, your customers, the people who pay the bills, at least for now. Also, a little insight here. You know how I always point out when Joe and Mika are in their little garage studio that they built for themselves in Florida? They like to roll out of bed, go downstairs into their garage, do their show in their little home studio. And of course, they always have that backdrop of the White House behind them. Well, I've got a keen eye for these things, and I'm pretty sure that they're in the New York studio. In fact, they've been in the New York studio for the last few days. I wonder if they're because, they're a little worried about what's going on with Comcast right now. Maybe they're trying to, work the corporate CEO there at Comcast Universal to try to make sure that they don't get sold off to some other high bidder who will just sort of sell all the assets off for scrap. It is interesting to me that here Thanksgiving week, he's spending all that time up in New York. Why? Why isn't he back home? Maybe he's pounding on some doors trying to make sure that he's still got a job next year. You might not know who this Jim VandeHei guy is. Jim VandeHei, the one who just did that speech that they all gave a standing ovation to. Jim VandeHei, as he just mentioned, is a guy from Wisconsin. He was a sports reporter there. And then he decided to move to D.C., got a job at Roll Call, where a lot of young journalists get a job when they're first starting out. Broke a story about then Speaker Bob Livingstone. He was only Speaker for about a month. Bob Livingstone having affairs. And this was during the Bush years. No. Yeah, it was either in the early Bush years or it was in the late Clinton years. I can't remember. I think it was in the early Bush years. Bob Livingstone then had to step down. Dennis Hassert became the new Speaker of the House. Then he got a job at the Washington Post. He was there for quite some time. Then he broke off and started a thing called Politico. Yeah, that's right. He was the co-founder of Politico, made him a ton of money. And of course, when Politico started, its main claim to fame was it was the first web-based politics journalistic endeavor, right? I mean, they did do a printed version, but hardly anyone bought it or saw it. It was really just for Washington, D.C., and it was really just so they could sell glossy ads, but it was really internet-based. It was to get clicks. It was the first completely organic internet-based political news organization that lived and died on traffic, okay? And he did that for years, and it was a huge success, and he made a ton of money until he decided to leave. And when he left, he wrote this very, very self-important article. I'm not going to show you the whole article because you have to subscribe to see it, and I'm just not going to give them any money. It's over at information.com, but you can see the headline from Jim VandeHei, Escaping the Digital Media Crap Trap. And you see the graphic there. Everyone's trying to get their clicks, but it's really a trap. Because by chasing clicks, you end up creating crap, is what Jim VandeHei was writing when he left Politico. Politico, the internet-based political news website that he created that really changed the industry into a click-chasing Leviathan. He's the guy who did it. And then he left saying, oh, I'm more pure than this. I'm not going to keep chasing clicks, even though he created the new industry model. And now he's screaming about Twitter. If Twitter or X is successful in getting people's opinions out there and getting news moving at the lightning speed that you can get it on social media, it has Politico to thank for that. Politico helped bring in this whole thing. And now he's up there screaming about it. He's up there angry that journalism has changed. He changed journalism. And I think for the better, by the way. We don't have to worry about gatekeepers. We don't have to worry about editors. We don't have to wait for the afternoon edition or the morning edition of a newspaper. When something's happening, we can get the information now. He doesn't like that you can get the information without his approval, without him being the gatekeeper. That's his problem. That's why he doesn't want you to be the media. By the way, Elon Musk saw this little diatribe earlier this morning, and his response was, yeah, whatever, LMAO, you are the media now, and legacy media know it. They 100% know it. Of course they do. And that's why they're so terrified. That's why they're sitting on MSNBC applauding this diatribe and trying to scream at their audience saying, we matter, because they're about to get chopped up and sold off. Because if they mattered, they'd be doing well. If they mattered, they wouldn't have to worry about their dwindling revenue, their dwindling ratings, and they wouldn't have to worry about getting auctioned off to the highest bidder because, well, they don't matter. Elon specifically talked about being the actually, before we get to that, last year, was it a year ago? I think it was a year ago on MSNBC. This guy, Mehdi Hassan, who was fired, by the way, because he was cozying up to Hamas too much. He was on MSNBC when Elon Musk first purchased Twitter. And you want to know why MSNBC doesn't matter? You want to know why Joe Scarborough is terrified right now and how they become so irrelevant? Because this was how they delivered the news of Elon Musk purchasing Twitter to their viewers.
Elon Musk was supposed to be a vanguard of personal freedom, a genius whose brilliance with rocket ships and electric cars would bring Twitter to space-age greatness. Instead, the microblogging platform that once enabled regular people to speak truth to power, the very powerful networking and organizing tool that helped to herald in the Arab Spring and the summer of racial justice protests, that social media network that made the world a little smaller is now on the brink of collapse, technologically, economically, and culturally.
Yeah, how's that working out for you, Mehdi? The only thing on the brink of collapse is Mehdi Hassan. In fact, beyond the brink of collapse, his show is gone. It's history. He was fired. He was too radical for MSNBC. Let that sink in. Elon Musk purchasing Twitter ruins it, and now it's on the brink of collapse. No, actually, last time I checked, it's the #1 news source worldwide. It's the #1 downloaded app worldwide. And, oh, by the way, if this matters to you, a recent poll showed that their audience, people who get their news from X instead of from MSNBC or Fox News or CNN or the networks, people who get their news are almost split directly down the middle ideologically. It's like 48% conservative, 47% liberal. So it's actually probably the fairest platform right now for giving and receiving information. And that's another reason why they're freaking out. Elon Musk talked about how the media has changed since he purchased Twitter and turned it into X and made it free and fair and open. He was on the campaign trail, actually, when it came up. And here's what he had to say about it.
People don't realize just how much government involvement there is in the media, and like how much the government influences the media. I mean, it's crazy how you'll see in fact, I think like whoever's manipulating the media should mix it up a bit because they're really not doing a great job. When they was a week before the debate between Biden and Trump, and everyone was on the media was saying Biden was sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack. I mean, like you should mix it up a little. Get a thesaurus. Okay. The NBC media puppets were just all saying exactly the same thing. So, it's just kind of strange that, and do they all just get the same memo at the same time? I don't know. Where does it come in? I want to see the group text. Okay, is there like an email copy list or what? Everyone say the same thing at the same time. Yeah, just total puppets.
Yeah, total puppets. And one of the beauties of having X be a free platform and free forum is that we're all able to look at it and show each other, look at this, they're all saying the same thing. Look at the great montages that people like Western Lensman, a great follow on X, has been doing, or the folks over at Newsbusters. We use their content all the time. It's fantastic. Or Colin Rugger, some of the other great accounts. I mentioned Mace earlier. They're just people out there who are seeing this, they're sharing it, they're putting it out there. It's citizen journalists, and it's the democratization of the First Amendment and of the media. When he says you're the media, that's what he means. Not your reporters, not your publishers. No, you're the media, meaning It's our eyes, it's our voices. We're all part of this story. And as long as Jim Vandehey and Joe Scarborough and all of those other dinosaurs on the set of Morning Joe continue to, ignore it and bitterly cling to the last vestiges they have of their multi-million-dollar contracts from media corporations, well, then they're just going to go down with the ship. I mean, look at them. Look at them. They have the audacity of bringing Al Sharpton onto the set as a representative of media and journalism. Al Sharpton! Why take these people seriously? Although this does connect back to Elon Musk, because over the weekend, Musk was having a little bit of fun with this idea that MSNBC is going to be up for sale. I don't know if you remember this, but when Musk decided to buy Twitter, it was because the Babylon Bee, a satirical site, they were banned from Twitter. Why did Twitter ban them? Because they put out a story that said Rachel Levine was their man of the year. Rachel Levine, as you know, is a man who dresses up as a woman and presents as transgender, and he's the Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services, which, by the way, really shoots into perspective all of the criticisms of Trump's cabinet selections, right? Oh, they're not qualified. They're not qualified. They're not serious candidates. Please. So Babylon Bee, having fun as they are, satirically says Rachel Levine is the man of the year. Twitter deleted it, banned it, censored it, and kicked them off. They banned them from Twitter unless they deleted the tweet. They refused to delete it. And so for over a year, when Elon Musk learned about this, somebody said to him, Elon, you should buy Twitter. And he replied and said, how much does it cost? And that put into motion the events that led to Elon Musk purchasing it, Elon Musk freeing it up for all voices and rejuvenating accounts that had been censored. He also revealed exactly what the Biden administration had done to silence voices during the COVID-19 pandemic and put pressure on that company to do it. That's the Twitter Files, which was an award-winning investigative report from Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger and Barry Weiss, I believe it was. Also, he by doing that, he basically created a complete and total free flow of information that led to unencumbered opinions being expressed all through this campaign, which I think contributed to Donald Trump winning re-election in such a stunning fashion. So that whole chain of events started because of the Babylon Bee and Elon Musk saying, well, how much does it cost? Well, over the weekend, the story about MSNBC being up for sale was published. And Donald Trump Jr. reposted it on X saying, hey, Elon Musk, I have the funniest idea. And Elon Musk replied and said, how much does it cost? And for the next 48 hours, Elon Musk engaged in, I believe, some trolling and just some fun, saying, I don't know, what if I do buy this thing? What if I bought MSNBC? Babylon Bee came out with a headline that said, Elon Musk threatens to purchase MSNBC and convert it into a news organization, which I thought was pretty good. Joe Rogan said, you buy MSNBC, I'll take Rachel Maddow's slot. I'll wear the same clothes and the same glasses and tell the same lies. Elon Musk was responding to all of this, saying this would be hilarious. This would be great. I don't think he's serious about it. Because if you think about it, the most expensive stuff that MSNBC has right now when you purchase that asset is access to cable boxes, which is soon to be completely irrelevant. Elon Musk knows that better than anyone. He's creating a thing called XTV, I think, for streaming. So why worry about all that infrastructure you need for cable and satellites and all that stuff when you're streaming? You're doing it now like this, right? The other expensive stuff is all the studio space and equipment and I mean, they're in Manhattan. They're at 30 Rock. They don't need all that. I think he can. The key here is MSNBC is being sold because it's quickly becoming irrelevant, and streaming is the future. And Elon Musk with X is already sort of at the forefront of that. So he can do what MSNBC is doing right now without having to take on all that debt and take on all of those assets. That's what I suspect he's really doing here in what's really at play. Take a look at XTV. That's an interesting new development that he's working on. He wants to compete with YouTube and the other major streaming video services. And I mean, who's going to second guess him and count him out at this point? We'll wait and see. Either way, we're happy to be across all platforms with this show. And we do love the fact that the dinosaurs still don't get it, that they're sitting there screaming about how relevant and important they are, when ultimately the bottom line is they broke the trust that has to be there between themselves, delivering information and analysis, and the viewers. They openly misled their viewers. And those two, Morning Joe and Mika, not only did they break the trust of their viewers by lying about Donald Trump, but then 2 weeks after the election, they headed down to Mar-a-Lago saying, yeah, sure, he's Hitler, but we can work with him. So now all the people who were still there watching are pissed off at them. The bottom line is, if you don't have trust with your viewership, if you just can't be frank and open and transparent, then you got nothing when you're in this business. And at this point, MSNBC, you've got nothing.